morning, it's time to rise and shine.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, I hope you're feeling fine. The sun is just above the hill, another day for us to fill with all the things we love to do. Oh, can't you hear? It's calling you, doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, it's time to rise and shine.
Good afternoon. Busy on the phones. It's Friday. Why are people calling? Stop it. Stop calling. Why am I getting like back-to-back calls? Yes, I did do an assessment this morning. And yes, it made me feel very lovely and appreciated. However, I don't want to be on the phones anymore. I hate this. I haven't heard back from Exact Sciences. I think I should just keep applying. I need to find, you know what I need to do? I need to go on Indeed, I think. I should go on Indeed, put my application out there, you know. Yeah. Put my application out there, apply for more. Just the position I want. I'm not going backwards anymore. Unit coordinator, team lead, trainer, that kind of stuff. And then nothing that will decrease my pay though, because we want, oh, speaking of pay, Russ got a bonus, $1,300 bonus, yeah, which put us over our mark, put us right to where we want to be. We have reached our goal in our savings. Continue to save. We keep transferring the dollar amount, you know, that we normally do. But anything extra is now going to start getting paid towards credit cards and other debts. And we are starting on our way. I really need to pluck my beard. We are starting our way towards becoming debt-free. It's gonna feel so good. Still gonna be a few years before we get everything paid off, but it'll be nice. You wanna see me pluck my beard? Just right here, I have this whole section. I am not right-handed, left-handed. I'm not left-handed. I'll do it later. Okay, Women of the Movement. It's what I'm currently watching. It was on ABC yesterday. Recorded it. I'm watching this first. Then the next one I will watch is the one about Emmett Till. I mean, these are both kind of about Emmett Till. This first one, Women of the Movement, is more about his mother. If you don't know, Emmett Till is an African-American boy who went down to visit his uncle in Mississippi in the 60s, maybe later than that. Alexa, when did Emmett Till die?
Emmett Till died on August 28, 1955, at the age of 14 years.
Yeah, so he was killed down in Mississippi. I don't know why, but because it was Mississippi, it was in the 50s. That's probably why. So when people say, it's just a, you know, it's a racial thing, and if you don't live it, you won't understand it. When people ask, why can't we just let it go? It's because these things still happen. If you had an injustice in your family and the same thing happens every year, how can you let it go and just move on? You can't just move on, especially when this was in the 50s. I bet you know somebody who was born before 1950. If you still know your grandparents. Anyway, it's a thing. You should know your history, and I'm learning my history. Anyway, I heard the name Emmett Till, but they didn't teach in school anything about Emmett Till. I didn't know anything about Emmett Till until like 2 years ago. I heard the name, and then I still didn't know anything about him. So I'm learning more and more. And when they talk about the angry black woman or angry black man, it's because our history doesn't give us anything but something to be angry about, you know, because there's just so much we've had to go through or are going through. Me personally, I don't deal with it on a day-to-day basis. I don't live in a neighborhood where this happens to my face. I don't see it every day. I didn't have to grow up in a neighborhood where it happened every day. So I am very blessed to not have to grow up in that kind of situation. But I know people who have or are still in that situation or that environment, that hateful environment. Anyway, so I'm gonna watch this, and then I'm gonna watch the one about Emmett Till. The Let the World See is the name of the one for Emmett Till. So I'm watching that one next. But I'm gonna finish this one, watch the next one, and you know, Black history is hard to watch, very hard to watch, but it's important to know. So I will watch it, and I will know. So this is a series, this Emmett Till docu-series. There's one, Women of the Movement is before it, and then the one Let the World See is after that. So I'm recording both series. One of them is like an actual documentary. That's the Let the World See. And the one prior to that is is more like a series or whatever of the whole thing. It's tragic, it really is. It started. I mean, to think about this here for a moment, there are people still alive who have lived through segregation and Jim Crow. They're in their 90s. Not like 100 something. They're in their 90s, 80s and 90s. Okay? My dad was born a year before, or 2 years before, Brown versus the Board of Education, something like that, where basically it was the right to end segregation. And so yeah, my dad was just born, but I don't know if you knew this, but women of color only had the right to vote in the 1960s, not 1800s. This is, people act as though this was like 1800s. This is still happening today. People are still even being encouraged not to vote. The colored people vote, you know, that kind of thing. And these types of documentaries or these series, movies, any of them, they make me mad, but not because it happened, but because it's still happening around the world. And people just think if we ignore it, it's just going to go away. And it's not going away. There are still people today who believe white power is supreme, white is supreme, white is right, and that's what they think. And people are still teaching that to their kids, that depending on the person's the color of their skin determines the worth of that person. I'm going to bed. Hold on. You know how people talk about angry black women, angry black man. Do you ever think we have a reason to be? Maybe me personally, no, because according to my dad, I'm not black. My dad, as I was growing up, me and my older brother, he would sit us down before we went to school, not every year, but he told us before we went to middle school. That's when I remember hearing the "you're not black" speech. When somebody asks you what race you are, or you're going to fill out documents or papers on, for school, and they're going to ask you what race you are. You're not black, my dad would say. You're not black. He didn't say we were white either. So I said, okay, I'm not black, get it. But then I'm not white. So what am I? And I never got an answer. I am me. I can't be any other color or gender. I mean, Melissa, I don't identify as any other gender than what was assigned to me at birth. I identify as myself. This is who I am. People think I am also from India, which I'm not. My nephew, Makai, has been confused with a Mexican boy. They think he's Mexican or sometimes Asian, which, what? Not even. We have no Asian or Mexican heritage in our blood. We are black. We are white. I mean, there's a lot of cultural mixing in there, but color-wise, we are black. We are white. That's what we are. That's what I am. Okay, so I just get very upset for people who just want to dismiss it. I get upset at them. They just want to dismiss the race. They want to dismiss what is actually happening in this world. Ignore a problem, it'll go away. Is that it? Because that's not how the world works. It's not. You can't just ignore a problem and it'll go away. It's just not how it works. You know what I forgot to talk about yesterday? Yesterday was January 6th. I don't know if you remember, but last year, I can't believe it's been a year already. But last year, the coup to overthrow the government was put into place by Donald racist Trump. And his followers, the little minions, to try to overturn the votes because Donald Trump didn't win. He did not win. Biden won. And if someone's going to come at me and say, Biden not any better, let's see. The beginning of 2020, we would have known about the virus, the coronavirus. You want to know why it's called Corona-19? Because in 2019 is the year the virus was discovered. Okay, 2019. But we didn't hear about it until 2020. Why was that? Because our leader-in-chief decided it wasn't a big deal. And there are still people out there who are like, I'm not getting a vaccine. Trump didn't take the vaccine. Yeah, he did. And I guarantee you he got his booster too. Trump has taken the vaccine. There are people out there who are so dumb. They think that Donald Trump is running the show from behind the scenes, and that Biden is actually dead, and that they believed in August and then October and sometime that Trump was going to rise into office again, and that his right-hand man would be whoever the Kennedy was. I can't remember his name now. Who is dead. A dead Kennedy would come and be the vice president. Do people not hear them speak? Hear themselves? Can you not hear what you're saying? Does what you say really make sense in your brain? Like, do you really think Trump, who is still under investigation for a lot of crimes, do you really think that he was a great leader? I don't understand, like, the whole of the dumpster fire that was 2020. Everything happened in 2020. It was the worst year in my life, that I've lived through. You know, I mean, there's been worse, I'm sure. You know, and the marching and all the thing. I witnessed all of that stuff in my era. You would think you get all these laws passed and racism poof goes away. No, actually I don't think that. It doesn't just poof. You make a law and poof, it's all fixed. It's kind of like this evening. I was on a call with a gentleman who was upset because his pharmacy that he liked was no longer contracted with the Express Scripts TRICARE military pharmacy benefit. He wanted to know how to get them contracted, to make them contracted. Like, during a phone call, first of all, you don't do it by calling your medical insurance people. The only thing we do is process the claims. We don't even make the rules. I don't see a contract. We don't get a vote. There's no vote. We don't get to vote who's contracted in TRICARE. Your insurance people who process the claims, they don't get to vote. We're not, we are government owned. We're not owned by the people. And if you think the government's supposed to work for the people, they don't. If the government worked for the people, how come they get better health care than our military people? That's what I want to know. Why do they get better pay than our military people who are protecting the land that they live in? Okay, I'm losing track. I'm going down a rabbit hole and I'm making myself mad. All this started when I started talking about racial inequalities. Emmett Till is when it started in 1965, I believe, is when he died. Not died, he was murdered. You know what they did to that boy? They tied a wheel, water wheel. You know, like not like the big giant ones that turn the water, but like a smaller one. They tied it to his neck with barbed wire after beating his face in and then throwing him in the river. They were hoping that would keep his body down in the water. Beating him up so severely, had cuts all over his body. His face was unrecognizable. And they didn't want, he was down in Mississippi, but he's a boy from Chicago. And they didn't want the sheriff of Mississippi area, I forgot the name of the place, didn't want Emmett Till's body to be returned back to Chicago. Why is the sheriff involved in hiding what happened to Emmett Till? Race, that's why. Okay, not going to talk about this anymore. If you want to know more about Emmett Till, or anything else that I'm talking about, you can look it up yourself. Again, the name of the docu-series is called Let the World See. Let the World See airs on Thursdays on ABC at 7 or 8 o'clock. I can't remember. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. All right. I'm going to bed tomorrow. Thank God it's Saturday. Oh, I'll see you tomorrow. Have yourself a good night. Toodles.